A very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, and it is Sunday, the 13th of August, and a drizzly day it has been here, but not hardly any wind. It's currently 15 degrees, 1012, about 8 knots, I think it is meant to be out there, west-southwest. It's changing a bit. And the drizzle has stopped at the moment, but it has been on and off and on and off most of the day. All right, the program for this evening, we've got about 4 boats on passage, but what we'll do is I'll just cover a tiny bit of news, and then David will do a little bit of a overview of what's going on weather-wise. We have the World Football Women's competition going on at the moment, and to everyone's surprise, it has actually been very, very gripping. Superb football, really some fantastic saves from the goalkeepers. The games over the weekend had England beating Colombia 2-1 and Australia versus France. That was a rip snorter of a game. It ended up 0-0. So penalty shootouts, 7-6 to Australia. They're called the Matildas. So that was, especially for all us folk down under, that was pretty exciting because there hadn't been anybody from this part of the world at the quarterfinals or beyond. So what happens this week is that Spain play Sweden. And I think having seen the Swedes play Japan, I would put my money on Sweden. And England play Australia. Much as I'd like the Matildas to come through, I suspect it's going to be England. They have a lot of depth of playing at this sort of level of competition. So, yeah, pretty exciting games. Just a brief update on the Maui situation. It is getting more and more grim. The death toll is now up to 93, and they're still counting because it's Lahaina there was just wiped out basically. So they're still trying to sift through what's left. So really, really sad situation there. And the rest of it, there's all the mayhem as usual in the Middle East and Africa. So we won't bother going into that. And it's very hard to know what's going on in the Ukraine-Russia situation. So that's about it from me. I will pass the microphone to see what the weather's doing. Hopefully it's a little less disturbed than the world political situation, David.
Oh, that's probably a safe bet. That's for sure. We'll take a look at the Southwest Pacific right now. And quite similar, actually, from yesterday and similar from the day before. Similar from the day before that, too. But anyway, we have a high, a very weak high, about a 1025, 1025 millibar. The center of it is approximately 25 south and about 175 east. However, it's oblong in shape. So if you were just to draw an oblong figure, the single isobar of 1022 runs from New Caledonia all the way to roughly 165 west. Just one big isobar. And in between that isobar is no wind whatsoever. However, north of there, that's where we have activity. So we've got a very active trough. It's broken, however, but the parts that aren't broken are quite active. So if you had a chart and you were to draw almost a straight line, but just a slight curve in it, you could start off at just to the north of the Solomons, the northern Solomons actually, and go roughly east-southeast, and that line would cross Rotuma, it would cross Futuna, and it would cross the Nui area, and it would continue down to just south of the southern Cooks. And there is a secondary trough that is over Tonga. Not very long, but it is linked up with a cold front that runs from about 23 south, really the southern Lao. I guess is the best way to put it. Runs from the southern Lao to the southern parts of Tonga, and then it travels almost east-southeast. That's a regular cold front. So we've got colder air to the south, warmer air to the north, and that's a bit of a clash, and we've got quite a bit of cloud and so forth. And the winds are fairly fresh all around this trough that I'm talking about, or double trough. They're about 25 knots, and they are running basically east from the east-southeast. And that's virtually the same kind of wind we'll find in the Solomons, that we'll find in Samoa, we'll find it in Fiji, we'll find it in Tonga, and we'll find it in the Southern Coast. Basically the same direction and about the same intensity. So that's the picture up there. Won't bother with down here. Tricia covered a lot of that.
Actually, it's getting better as you speak.
But yeah, actually it's looking fairly nice out there right now. I see actually some sun. Yep. But anyway, I'll pass it over to the chief, and we'll see what boats we could pull in.
Okay, I think we'll start from the east. We have got Bedouin and Dawn Reacher. We have Sugar Shack. Oh, sorry, Icaros, and then Sugar Shack, then Kulfi. So there we have it. Bedouin, Gulf Harbour Radio.
Gulf Harbour Radio, Bedouin, copy.
Yeah, pretty good coffee tonight, so that's good. Chris, go ahead. Over.
That bearing, our position 1443 south, 15748 west, course over ground 286, speed over ground 6 knots, wind is out of the east, about 10 to 14, up and down a little bit, and seas are nice calm 1 meter or less out of the east. Over.
And the cloud.
Copy that, come again.
The cloud cover. David's trying to get you folk all educated to give him the cloud cover. Over.
Oh yeah, right. Cloud cover, I would say, is less than 20% cloud cover. High, full of trade wind clouds. Over.
Okay, we have Bedouin. Boy, sounds like lovely sailing. 1443 south, 15748 west, course 286 true at 6 knots with an east 10 to 14, give or take. 1 metre easterly swell, wow, 20% less or less cloud cover. So I'd say that's, boy, no complaints from Bedouin crew, I'm sure. I'll just see if David's got any updates.
Yeah, okay, well, thanks for all of that. The information that you give me helps me determine which of the models are accurate and which are not accurate, so actually it's quite useful. So anyway, I've moved you a couple of degrees toward your target. I put you at about a 160 west tomorrow at about lunchtime. And winds pretty much what you've got now, east, maybe 15, 16, gusts to 20, 22 knots, like that. And there'll be some off and on showers, and with that there'll be a few squalls probably, particularly at night. And the reason I want your cloud cover is that I want to match up what you're seeing with the satellite imagery that I pull in, that is usually about an hour or two old. And I also look at what the models are predicting for cloud cover or precipitation. So it's basically a verification thing for me, and I appreciate that. So there you go. I'll give it back to the chief unless you have any questions.
Negative. Thank you very much. Great copy, and thanks for the information.
Okay, and many of you will wonder, even though many of you don't need any information because you've got lots of communications at sea, we when we've got time, like we have with few boats at the moment, we tend to give it because there are others around you that either don't have a transmit radio system or they're too shy to pick up the microphone or whatever, and it's of interest to people that are listening on streaming. For those of you who are newcomers, we do live stream, so anyone who wants to listen to your dulcet tones can just tune in and hear it on the internet, either live or at a later date. Okay, we're clear with Bedouin. Very nice conditions tonight. Dawn Reacher, Gold Harbour Radio. Nothing heard from Dawn Reacher. Let's go to Sugar Shack. Sugar Shack, Christine.
Hey, good evening, Patricia and David. We are doing well. So we are at 17 degrees, 36 minutes south, 178 degrees, 02 minutes west. We're on a course of 286 true. We have about 19 to 20 knots of wind from the east-southeast, gusting to 25. We have 2 decimal 5 to 3 meter seas in the southeast. Barometric pressure is 1013. We have between 80 and 90% cloud cover. And we have 160 nautical miles to Sabu Sabu, Fiji. Over.
Okay, we have Sugar Shack, and you didn't say your speed, but I will be able to have a quick whiz here. But anyway, Sugar Shack, 1736 south, 17802 west. They're 160 miles from Sabu Sabu on a course of 286 true. Winds quite sporty, 19 to 20 with gusts to 25 from the east-southeast, and the seas are reflecting that, 2.5 to 3 metre swells from the southeast, 1013 and 80 to 90%. David's just looking at the with how that fits in with what he sees. I'll pass the microphone.
Sorry about the boat. Patricia, we are about 7.5 to 8, depending on if we're surfing down a wave. Over.
7.5 to 8, wow.
Okay, got that. Hi, Christine. And, well, I put you tomorrow at about the dateline. So you're moving along pretty good, almost there. The winds are going to remain pretty fresh for the next day or so in Fiji. In fact, Fiji Met has a strong wind warning out for all waters, and they are looking at 20 to 25 knots. And that's pretty much what I'm picking up as well with my bit of forecasting. So I'd say east to east-southeast, pretty much what you've got now. 17, 18 knots, gusting probably up to 25, maybe a little bit more. You are right on the edge of that trough that I talked about. It's I'm looking at the satellite imagery right now. That is, how old is it? I guess it's an hour old. And the southern edge of it is just going over Sabu Sabu at the moment. And it's probably going to be lifting up to the northeast by the time lunch arrives tomorrow. So let's hope so, that you don't get caught up in that. But it looks like you'll be okay. So that's the story from here. Over.
Thank you very much. We did have a pretty significant shower earlier today, but it has calmed down quite a bit, but the speed is not clear. And at least you've got a long interval, so it's not too uncomfortable.
Oh, that's good. And you don't have far to go, so that's even better.
She said not comfortable?
Yes, not too uncomfortable. Yes. David has trouble with these double negatives. All right, have a good landfall, and we will clear with Sugar Shack and go to Ikaros, going to Samoa. And by the way, folks, when I say Samoa, it is what used to be clarified as Western Samoa. It is not American Samoa. So if you are in fact going to American Samoa, please let me know. Ikaros, Gulf Harbour.
This is Ikaros. No copy.
Oh, booming in, Bob. Go ahead.
Very good. Current position 13152. 16351 west. Speed over the ground, 4.7 knots. Heading 267 degrees true. 10 to 12 knots of breeze out of the east. A meter swell out of the east. 20% cloud cover. And we're 462 miles to go to Apia. Over.
Okay, thank you. We have Ikaros at 1315 south, 16351 west, on a course of 267 true, 4.7 on their way to Althea in Samoa, and 10 to 12 knots from the east, 1 metre seas from the east. 402 miles to go. Sounds rather pleasant out there. I'll just pass the microphone to David.
All right, Bob, you're moving along pretty good. So I'm sticking you at about 166 west tomorrow at about lunch. And winds easterly, just like you're getting now. I think a little bit stronger, probably about 17 to 22. That's guess. And quite possibly some scattered showers and quite possibly a few squalls, but not much. The trough, the active trough that I've been talking to you about is to your south. So it's between Samoa and Fiji, closer to Fiji than Samoa. So we'll have to see if that starts to drift up to your area. But right now, that's where it is. So we'll keep track of that. And that's your basic forecast for tomorrow. So with that, I'll pass it back to the chief.
Thank you very much for that. We could use a little more breeze out here, so that sounds good for tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't want too much. It sounds, I know it's mellow, especially from that direction, but better that than the opposite. So it sounds pretty comfortable for you both. Okay, hi to Bev, and we'll clear with Ikaros and go to Kulfi, Gulf Harbour.
Harbour Radio, this is Coffee reading you loud and clear. And here's my position. 23 degrees, 0.8 south, 166 degrees, 0.33 east. I am making 6 knots on a course of 165 degrees true. The seas are glassy calm, and there is about 0.5% cloud cover, mainly on the far eastern horizon. All is well on board.
And I won't ask the wind because it sounds like with the engine on, then the glassy seas that there isn't much, and that confirms it on the models. Kulfi has got 2328 south, 16633 east on their way from Numea to New Zealand. Course of 165 true at 6 knots motoring. Glassy calm seas and a 0.5%. I like that. There must be a very little bit of cloud in the far east there. So let me see whether he's got any breeze for you.
No, about the only hot air is coming from me. There's nothing tomorrow, Bob. So I don't know. You're right smack dab in the middle of the high, and there's just nothing there. There's hardly any cloud to speak of. Look, just want to check the satellite imagery for where you are. And boy, oh boy. No, we're getting so much descending air from this anticyclone that it's suppressing all of the cloud. There's just a few wisps whipping along there, but they're not whipping. They're just there. And so another day of nothing for you. Over.
Yeah, which is what we expected. That's okay.
thanks for the forecast, over.
Yep. Oh, well, I tell you what, you have to start doing something like, well, you could just sort of mellow out and fish and sunbathe, and you'll arrive with nice suntans and make us all us white folk that haven't seen the sun for so long envious. So, yep. Well, we'll try and find something for you within a couple of days. In the meantime, just enjoy the sound of the motor. Over.
I'll do that, and I'll try not to ease the crew dinner. Over.
Yeah, okay, Peter. You'll find wind at about 25 south. So whatever you can do to get down there, paddle, put the rope in your mouth and swim with your fins. But if you get down to 25, that's when the wind starts. Over.
Okay, that sounds great. Good target, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll hold on to that one. Okay, we'll clear with Culfie coming back to the cold New Zealand. Is there anybody else wanting to join us tonight? Gulf Harbour Radio listening.
Y2K.
Okay, we've got Y2K, stand by, Max, booming signal, and we have found Dawn Reacher. Dawn Reacher, go ahead, over.
Gulf Harbour Radio, this is Dawn Reacher. I believe you have our name wrong. I will spell it out for you. It's Sierra, Oscar, November, Romeo, India, Sierra, Alpha. Dawn Reacher.
Oh, that makes sense, and now I do have you on the AIS, so I was trying to work that one out. So yes, we do indeed have you, Christian, now. Son Risa, go ahead with your conditions and position. Over.
Position 13 degrees, 23 minutes south, 165 degrees, 29 minutes west. We are making about 4.5 knots on a course of 266 degrees true. Speed and moderate wind around 10 knots from the east, and air cover about 20%.
Thank you for that. We have Son Risa, Christian and Ollie on their way to, gosh, I wrote that down somewhere. Where did I write it? Anyway, we have Son Risa at 1323 south, 16529 west, 4.5 knots on a course of 266 true, with 10 knots from the east and 20% cloud cover. So yeah, you guys have certainly got some pretty mellow conditions, and I guess it's quite pleasant sailing. Over.
Yeah, it's quite pleasant. We are hoping for a little more wind tomorrow, so the sails stop flapping and we can make some better speed. We are headed to Samoa.
Yeah, and yes, it is a bit annoying with that wind direction because you don't sort of get much to show for it, do you? So, yep, got you heading to Apia, and here's David.
Yeah, well, that wind direction, unfortunately, isn't going to change much. If you look at a synoptic chart, you'll see the isobars are running more or less east to west. A little bit of curving right about where you are. They're curving to the south. Just a wee bit. So considering that there's a bit of an angle with the wind to the isobar, that still means east winds. But looks like about 15, 16 knots, maybe gusting up to 20 or 21 for tomorrow at about lunchtime. Over.
Okay, thanks for the information, David, and thanks for all is well on board. Sonrisa on the side.
Okay, clear with Sonrisa. Sounds like a pretty pleasant passage, if not as fast as they would want. So we'll clear with you, and a very good evening to Y2K. Hello, Max and Ali.
Hello guys, this is Y2K. You are 5x7. How do you copy?
Oh, you are stronger than that. Hang on, I'll just take the... Give me another over and I will give it to you exactly. Over.
We are in Fulanda. This is our third week. It's pretty cold down here, but it's good. The truck is already passed over us, so we can start to see the blue sky. Over.
Yeah, you've been there a while, haven't you? And yes, very, very clear, 5 by 8 and sometimes 9. So a really, really nice signal, Max. So yeah, it's there's quite a few boats still in Fulanga. It must be a really, really beautiful spot. Everyone says how nice the snorkeling is there. You've had some pretty snotty weather though, and it's good that it's improved. So you're both enjoying it, over?
Yeah, of course, we try to enjoy as we can because in the last 3 weeks we had a lot of rain and a lot of wind, so probably today is the 6th or the 7th, the night day with sun in the sky. Over.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it hasn't been any better down here, although we have not had a lot of wind. It's just been the grey and the drizzle, and you know, you get a day like today where it is overall it's not too bad, but it just keeps raining, and we are really, really fed up with the rain. But it is showing signs of El Nino because we are getting the westerlies now rather than all the nor'easters that we had been getting. But all we have to do now is get the rain stopped and we'll be happy. But, yep, well, I hope the rest of the season is good for you. Yeah, well, we were in Fiji. It rained a lot too, but we tend to be over the eastern side, and I think it's a lot drier on the west. So, yep, have a good. I'll just pass the. Did you have any outlook for the decent weather? I'll just pass the microphone to David.
Hey, Max. Yeah, sounds like you're doing great. Wish we were there to enjoy some of this with you. But yeah, I'm sure, as you know, you've got plenty of reception on your internet, so you know what the weather's going to be. But I'll say it anyway. Still looking at about southeast winds, 20 to 25. The trough is to your north, so no worries there at the moment. So enjoy. Over.
Thank you, David. For your record, now we have around 15, 17 knots, gusting 21 from east to southeast. The barometer is 1011 raising. Over.
Yeah, and I can just picture your wonderful electronic setup there. I can see you reading it off, so thank you for that. And yeah, well, we'll just have to imagine how nice it is up there. All right, have a good night, you two. And whereabouts is Zumax now? I haven't had my eye out. We've been out and about. I haven't looked. Where's Zumax now? Over.
Zumac is close to us, not very close because we are in the southeast anchorage and they are more close to the northeast anchorage because they love to stay in the clear water up there. They are good and probably tomorrow night we will have a good risotto together. Over.
Oh, roger that. So they're still in the same position. Yeah, they've been up there for ages, so they must really enjoy it. Okay, well, enjoy that risotto, and we will clear with you and wish you all bon appetit for tonight, and well, you'll enjoy getting together tomorrow. Cheers, Max and Ali. Okay, is there anybody else for Gulf Harbour Radio? Who was that? It was just a bit too fast. Lady's voice, and I couldn't work it out. Who was that? Tattoo, thank you. Yeah, it was so quick. Good signal, though, but go ahead, over.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is Tattoo. Tango Alpha Kilo Uniform Tattoo. Sabrina and Curtis on board. We are currently anchored in Akitaki. Today is our second night here. We are doing well. Today we went on a tour and we swam with humpback whales. It was really amazing. And we're doing good, possibly leaving early next week. Over.
Okay, we haven't talked to anybody in Atutaki for a long time, not this season, Sabina. So lovely to talk to you, and a very nice signal from Taku. And swimming with the whales, so we know where the humpbacks are. They've certainly got as far as the Cook Islands, so that's interesting. Oh, David wants the lat long to save him looking it up. Have you got it handy? Over.
Yeah, just grabbing our navigation.
I can find it here. Yes. Oops, no, it's not that one.
Okay, thank you, sorry. We are at 18 degrees, 51 minutes south, 159 degrees, 48 minutes west. That is Atutaki, Cook Islands. And there are two of us here, two sailboats in the small harbor. Over.
Yeah, there's not much depth in that harbour, is there? What is your how deep are you in? Over.
We are anchored in 7.5 feet of water, so we have a 5-foot draft, and we're 14 feet coming through the channel. We're actively dredging the channel every single day. The dredgers out there, so safe to come through. As long as you don't have over a 7-foot draft, then.
Yeah, it's we've not been in there because our poor girl, she's 2.3 metre draft. So, so yeah, thank you for that. And for those that are not copying because they're too close, it's they're anchored in 7.5 feet of water, and it was 14 feet coming through there, the entrance. What's your weather like at the moment, Sabina?
Yes, we have 0 wind. It's flat calm, and we do have some cloud cover this evening tonight. I would say maybe 20 to 30%. Other than that, quite a calm, beautiful night.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll enjoy it if you can get into the Cooks like that. So Atutaki is, well, for people that fly in from New Zealand, it's quite popular place to go. It's interesting. I looked up. I'm glad you told me where you were because there's. Oh, here's the sailing vessel. There's when I clicked on the top one on the AIS, it was a big passenger ship. But I've got you on your AIS now. So, all right. Well, look, good to have you on board. And so, whereabouts are you headed from the Cooks? Over.
Sorry, did you say you are picking us up on AIS?
Well, I've got a sailboat. I'm just seeing where it is. Hang on.
The reason I ask is because our CHF antenna is not working very well right now. It's corroded, so it would be good news if you were picking us up.
Well, I tell you what, you would have had to move very quickly because the taku I've got is actually up in French Polynesia. So I'm going to have to go through the other one. So I haven't got you at all. It's up in Bora Bora, in fact. Oh no, it's part of Raiatea. Sorry, cancel the Bora Bora bit. It's in Raiatea as I go in. So yes, it's not you. Anyway, here's David.
Well, as you two were gabbing there, I was taking a look at the satellite imagery, and if you had listened before, we were talking about a trough that's running basically from the northwest to the southeast, and I would say that it's just not too far to the south of you from what I can see. So hopefully it's not going to affect you at all. These tend to drift up to the northeast, so we'll just have to see see what happens. It's just you're right on the edge of it, on the north edge of it. So I think you said, I didn't hear your cloud cover because I was
20 to
looking.
30%.
20 to 30, yeah.
Mm.
It may start to increase. If you're on, pardon me, if you are on tomorrow, I would be very interested to find out what it is. So thank you for that, and here's the truth.
Yeah, you definitely are not on the AIS. I've just put that in and looked at, there are a couple of German boats around, but not where you are. So, well, it might be Belgium. I never can work out which one's which. But anyway, yes, you're definitely not on the AIS at the moment. So it will be good to keep in touch with you. All right. Thank you for calling in, Sabina, and a very nice radio signal, by the way. What sort of boat is Taku? Over.
Yeah, thank you very much. And unfortunately, we have some dinner plans tomorrow, so we won't be able to check in, but I will make some notes and let you know the following day or the cloud cover.
Okay, that'd be good. All right, we'll clear with Taku. And before we leave, is there anybody else? Nope, nothing heard, so we'll leave you in peace tonight. Quite good radio conditions tonight, which was nice. So we'll be back again tomorrow night. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, and we are clear. Thanks all for participating. Gosh, it's a noisy thing.